Reading and reviewing indie books has become a passion of mine over many years and has helped me get through the many challenges that life can present. To me, there is nothing better than the escapism, the immersion, and even the magic that reading can be. As an indie author of nearly 10 years, I know all about the challenges and difficulties of finding book reviews, and so just like my dedication to the written word, here I am doing my best to support words by fellow authors. Welcome to Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall, an opportunity for me to showcase some wonderful indie books I've been reading. In fact, welcome to a special episode of Talking Indie Books, because yet again it is that time of year where the spotlight is on indie authors. Of course, I'm talking about Indie April, and this is a special length episode dedicated to Indie April 2026. The road to reviewing indie books continues for me, and let's face it, it will probably never end, because I'm on this road for the duration. And for this episode, I will be covering multiple indie titles. So let us dive in to a book that I read back at the start of this year, and it is in the genre of horror comedy. Of course, I'm talking about Puddle People by Eamon Bradley, which is a unique comedy that clings to darker themes and follows the antics of an eccentric inventor who is very much on a mission or even tirade to help humanity and do what he thinks is best no matter what. Our driven main character is just one of the many interesting figures in this tale, and near enough everyone has a depth that brings the story to life alongside the Northern Irish setting. There's an atmosphere, description, and plenty of funnier moments that balance well with the darker themes and elements as this story of one slightly mad inventor unfolds. Soon enough, the law begins to catch up with our main character, and so an investigation begins. And so, to quote my written review, with a determined lawman eventually noticing the happenings of this madcap inventor, the chase ensues, and then the culmination and payoff works to deliver a cracking read. There are plenty of moments that worked to deliver some laughs, as well as a few what the hell moments that drive the story of an inventor who has kind of lost any real grip on morality for his actions, all for the sake of his creations. And my favourite quote from Puddle People was this: "But it's times like these when all seems lost and the sky has fallen about our feet, that the weirdest things happen, that the universe suddenly listens, and your world that's been shrouded in coal-black mist suddenly clears. Inspiration, call it divine or purely accidental, has a way of finding us just when it's the right time, and if you know how to spot it, your life changes as fast as day burns into night." My rating for Puddle People by Eamon Bradley was 5 stars, and you can find my written review linked below. And so, moving on to the next title in this Indie April special episode, and this is a recent read that is a non-fiction book in the genre of marketing. Of course, I'm talking about Marketing is Mind Control, Break the Spell, Build with Truth by Jennifer Earls. This is a book I discovered on Twitter, and as an author of a marketing guidebook myself, I am always curious to read them with a hope that I discover something new. And yes, some of you will probably affirm that marketing is mind control, and this book does a great job in laying out what is essentially a study of that practice. From the big tech firms to wider afield, most marketing and advertising uses methods that may not really appear particularly classy or honest in their ways, but Jennifer Earls does a great job at delivering a book that does its best to persuade readers to move down perhaps a more honest and wholesome path. You don't have to play mind games like the big companies to find success in marketing, and this book walks you towards breaking that spell. It champions being more honest about things. And so, to quote my recent written review, from what begins as a study of how big-time corporations use various tactics to sell to their inner workings, it shifts towards talking about other ways to stand out, and many revolve around simply being integral, honest, and wholesome. The writing style definitely drew me in, as lots of ideas within might be centered towards going against the grain of trends, but as someone who has been around on social media for a while, and doing my best to sell, it felt very relatable, and would serve anyone looking to improve their online marketing stance. My favourite quote from Marketing is Mind Control, Break the Spell, Build with Truth by Jennifer Earls was this: "What we're talking about here is marketing with integrity. The kind that holds steady, even when you're not shouting. The kind that honours your audience's intelligence instead of trying to outsmart them." My rating for Marketing is Mind Control by Jennifer Earls was 4 stars, and you can find my written review linked below. And so, this special Indie April episode of Talking Indie Books continues with the next title, which is in the genre of military science fiction, and I'm talking about 0 Hour, a military science fiction campaign by Christian Warren Freed. Now, this book's title delivers exactly what it says, and this is an action-packed story and follows an elite group called the Crimson Spiders. What begins as a backs-to-the-wall situation for a diminishing group who are under attack by an alien species known as Zemps. Their hardy efforts result in a recruitment opportunity. The armies of the good guys, known as the Grand Imperium, are looking to bring the fight to these Zemps, and this story follows that campaign. And so, to quote my recent written review, the description partnered with action really makes the reading experience here, along with a logical and informed military element with terminology from an author who has real-life experience in this field. This adds a certain realism to the book, and it is used well. Characters did feel a little flat at times, and didn't really stand out in terms of personality, but by the end of the story, they do show some more human emotion, which does carry some weight. For anyone who enjoys action with some high stakes and some cool inventive tech, then this is the one for you. My favourite quote from 0 Hour, a military science fiction campaign by Christian Warren Freed, is this: "None of us wish to endure such times, yet few of us seldom have a choice. We do as we must, no matter the cost." My rating for 0 Hour by Christian Warren Freed was 4 stars, and you can find my recent written review linked below. And so we shall move on to the final title in this special Indie April episode of Talking Indie Books. And much like Indie April, another occasion that comes once a year is Christmas. And seeing as there are plenty of people I know out there who are already excited for the festive season, this review will cover a book set around that time. This title is in the genre of horror, and of course I'm talking about The Christmas Demon by J.Z. Pitts. Now, I remember way back before last Christmas seeing this book mentioned on Twitter, and so I had to take a look. The Christmas Demon is a wonderfully atmospheric and descriptive adaptation based upon festive folklore. The cover art is awesome and attractive, and really does match the themes seen in this book. Modern day meets folklore with plenty of tension and a well-executed story. For anyone who likes the fusing of horror and the festive season, this is the one for you, and I rather enjoyed it. And to quote my written review from late last year, "From the start there's a tension and a build as the main characters are introduced. A family of 3 on a trip in the Bavarian Alps. With the hazardous snowbound weather quickly declining and a vehicle that is out of action, they are forced to seek shelter in a desolate place, but something is lurking in the shadows. They are led by a mysterious figure, who eventually works very well as a vessel to explain the deeper lore and plot." My favourite quote from The Christmas Demon by J.Z. Pitts was this: "Another scream, high-pitched, raw and frantic, ripped through the night. A sound of pure, mindless terror. Then, silence." My rating for The Christmas Demon by J.Z. Pitts was 4 stars, and you can find my written review linked below. And so, that wraps up this special Indie April 2026 episode of Talking Indie Books with Lee Hall. Indie authors are very much like small businesses and rely on the kind support of others to find more readers, so any support you can give an indie author will be very much appreciated. And talking of support, if you'd like to see video content like this before anyone else, then be sure to check out my Patreon, which is stacked with content for authors and readers alike. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this journey, and of course, if you're reading something right now, remember to leave a review. Happy Indie April. Peace out, rock and roll, and reading indie books.